So Shannon Sharpe, he and Mike Epps have apparently squashed their beef, man. They've yeah, man, Shannon Sharpe and Mike Epps have kind of let it go, man. So they met up in Indianapolis. You know, All-Star Weekend is happening in Indianapolis. This is probably the least hyped NBA All-Star Weekend I've seen in quite some time, man. But we gonna get this story here. This comes out of hotnewhiphop.com because I wanted to talk about the squashing of said beef, not the continuation of said beef. And this was the only outlet that even had the shit up. So we're going to read this story out of hotnewhiphop.com. And it says that Shannon Sharpe appears to have fully squashed his beef with Mike Epps. As promised, no video required, no audio required, just a picture of proof. We are good. Sharpe wrote on social media alongside a picture of the pair. Previously, Sharpe said that the pair would settle the beef on Club Shay Shay. And I asked y'all about that. I said, do y'all think this is just a ploy for Mike Epps to end up on Club Shay Shay? Could that have been the whole goal, was to end up on that couch to be able to talk his shit on Club Shay Shay? Because Club Shay Shay is now one of the more de facto places to go when people want to be heard and everything else, right? I was kind of wondering if that was the play. It says the beef began when Epps called Sharpe out on stage during a stand-up performance. He says, that nigga Shannon Sharpe called me trying to do an interview. He said to the crowd, I said, no, Madea, I ain't doing no interview with you, so you can sit across from me and look at my balls. The nigga shit is called Shay Shay. The nigga is telling you, put a wig on that motherfucker and tell me that ain't motherfucking Medea's sister. The situation devolved into a full-blown beef with the pair trading shots throughout the week. However, Epps is not the only person to make comments about Sharpe's sexuality. Antonio Brown went after Sharpe after Sharpe criticized Lamar Jackson. Sharpe a rainbow. He don't respect real players, Brown wrote. Furthermore, the disgraced wide receiver's tweet saw him firing off 2 separate insults at the Hall of Famer in just 8 words. The notion that Shannon Sharpe is gay is a long-time insult leveled at the former tight end. Meanwhile, there is also the implication that Sharpe isn't a real player, which is wild given that his career receiving yards, despite not being a true receiver, is less than 2,000 behind former wide receiver 1 Brown. Brown was responding to an old clip of Sharpe chastising Jackson for his physical play and reckless behavior at a charity event last year. The point that the post Brown was responding to was that Sharpe, who was very critical of Jackson after the AFC Championship game, had always been biased against Jackson. Furthermore, Brown's comments were part of his continued promotion of his media brand. Now, I didn't even know about that whole shit when it comes to Antonio Brown. Dude hasn't been right for a little while, man. Like, the fact that we even paying attention to what the fuck Antonio Brown is saying right now is a bit odd to me. That's keeping it a buck, right? But here's the deal though, right? A few weeks ago, when the whole Cat Williams thing on Shannon Sharpe's podcast came about, and I spoke about this here on the podcast before when that thing was going on, and Cat Williams said, well, Cat Williams basically went on there and he cast hella aspersions and threw hella insinuations across all of the entertainment industry about whether or not people were compromising themselves and being in whether or not they were like implicating that people may be gay or part of the LGBTQ community, or that they have to but even if they aren't a part of the community, they have to somehow submit themselves to that community in order to get ahead in the industry, right? And I said at the time that notion that anybody who has any level of success in the industry is only because they compromise themselves in sort of way was bullshit. And I remember how so many people, when that Cat Williams interview came out, people were like, Cat ain't told no lies. I believe everything that Cat said. Cat got receipts. And there, Cat had some receipts for some shit, but there was some other things that, they didn't really meet the smell test. Like, we had the whole thing about this. Like,
this nigga was clearly lying.
There were some things that the nigga was clearly lying about, but people wasn't trying to hear that, right? And I remember saying this, man, like, the idea that these people are only successful because they compromise themselves in some way is a dangerous motherfucking mindset to have. Right? Dangerous mindset to have. Fast forward not even a month later, And people are coming at Shannon Sharpe with the accusations that Shannon Sharpe has either compromised himself, or that he's gay, or that he's giving out favors for his success. Never mind that most of this success is mostly kind of coming off of the back of like, yo, lightning in the bottle with the whole Cat Williams interview to begin with. It was lightning in the bottle. I don't think Shannon Sharpe could have predicted that his show would reach the echelons that it is reaching because of what Cat Williams did on his show, right? And yet now Shannon Sharpe is now being hit with those same sort of, you compromise yourself, brother. You know, you part of the LG, and like these are accusations that have kind of been floating around Shannon for a minute. I remember there were pictures of his stylist, you know, like him. When he goes out and he has a stylist with him. What I didn't know initially was that his stylist is actually his nephew, and that is his nephew that is around that is around with him when he's going out to events and everything else. But people were taking it like that when he goes out in public and he's out with this young male, that that's his dude. That's his boyfriend or whatever. Now, Shannon has said that, like, I don't chase a lie and I'm not going to give that any energy and everything else. But the point that I'm making is those sorts of cries are coming out even louder now that Shannon Sharpe has more profile than he had before, right? Corey Holcomb out here on the same shit. Mace out here on the same shit. There's so many people now taking shots at Shannon Sharpe. Even Steven Jackson over at the Up and Smoke, All the Smoke podcast, and he's criticizing the way that Shannon Sharpe allows people to come on on his show and say things. And he said, well, we wouldn't allow people to come on and do sort of shit like that, and forgetting that, like, yo, he just had Isaiah Thomas on that show not too long ago, and he was talking cash shit about Michael Jordan, right? And then followed that up with having Charles Oakley on All the Smoke, and Charles Oakley going in on Isaiah Thomas about the shit that Isaiah Thomas said about Michael Jordan. But it's all about the attention that Shannon Sharpe has been able to garner as of late when it comes to that show. And it would be funny if it wasn't so predictable that now Shannon has to defend himself and his integrity against attacks of him either being gay, despite the fact that there's nothing wrong with being gay, but those are the attacks being leveled at him. He's fighting those attacks. Excuse me. But then also just fighting attacks against his integrity as a man, as someone who's moving in this space in media. It has been real interesting to kind of watch how that happened. And so, like I said, when it came to this Mike Epps shit, I thought that the play was Mike Epps trying to get on Club Shay Shay, right? This is an opportunity for me to kind of get, to kind of promote what I got going on. I could use that publicity. And guess what? That's exactly what the fuck he did. Even after he was calling, Shannon Sharpe zesty and all this other shit, he was like, yeah, man, make sure y'all go ahead and buy tickets to my new comedy special. Yeah. Like, yeah, he was using this as an opportunity to promote himself. And it's just kind of weird watching it play out, especially I've been doing this a long time. And so, like, at a certain point it's like you've seen the movie before. You've seen this movie before. And so when you're watching it play out, like, oh man, watch this is the best part. This is the best part right here. Watch this. Check this out. Because you see how you're seeing how people are moving. You understand the play. And so, yeah, I think it's dope that, like, Shannon Sharpe and Mike Epps were, they were publicly going at each other. The fact that they were publicly able to squash that, I think that was dope of both of them to be able to do that, right? The other part that I think is kind of crazy is that, I guess that now that Shannon has the attention of everybody, that there's so many people who probably feeling a little bit jealous that they've been in this space for much longer than Shannon Sharpe has been, and yet they've not been able to garner the amount of attention that Shannon Sharpe has been able to garner. And that is driving a lot of this animosity towards Shannon Sharpe, right? Because again, uh, in order for a lot of people to justify why they're not in the place in which they wish to be, they have to besmirch the character of those who are in that place that they wish to be. Which is why I thought some of the things that Cat Williams said about some of the people that he talked about was a little fucked up. Because I do believe that Cat Williams would like to be in some of those places that some of those other folks are, but he's not. And so the accusation that they compromise themselves in order to be there is fucked up. And so many people latch on to that idea. And it's like, I hate to see it. But I do appreciate these two grown ass men, squashing their beef in a much, in a responsible way, because it was getting stupid. Like, you got two 50-year-old motherfuckers talking about some fighting and shooting and all this other shit. Like, these are the things we tell the 20-year-olds, the teenage niggas. Hey, bro, that ain't the way. That ain't the way. So when they see the elders out here doing that dumb shit, how then do you talk to them? Like, hey man, nigga, when you just out here talking about going bang bang, nigga, like now you gonna tell me to be responsible? Nigga, I ain't trying to hear that shit from you, right? So you got that going on. Now, the last